Broadcasting live from Cesur Secunde, Void Altar at the Edge of Eternities. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome, everybody, to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Kathleen.
Hello.
And Cameron. And today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the lore, the story of the Edge of Eternities, because I've been reliably informed it rips. I think that was the term. So I'm excited to learn more about it. And you can learn more about, well, not the story, but the cards that you can pre-order at cardkingdom.com/LRR. Please do check out Card Kingdom. Get yourself some Edge of Eternities. Why not? They'll ship sealed product anywhere in the U.S. They'll ship singles anywhere in the world for any, I don't know, any Commander decks or Standard decks or anything that you might be building. Head over to cardkingdom.com/LRR. Tell them we sent you. Ask for a little button. Someone messaged us and told us what the new button was, and I can't remember what it was now. Darn it. Anyway, they'll give you a little funny button that says a funny thing. Want to remind you also that if you're buying anything from Dragon Shield, you can use the code LRRMTG5 to get yourself a 5% discount on Dragon Shield. And most importantly, everything we do here at Loading Ready Run is brought to you by you and your support of either our Patreon or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel. We really hugely appreciate it. Thank you for letting us do this. And by this, I mean that Kathleen and Cameron have both digested lore.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to set some, because you said they're going to be doing a deep dive. We're not going to exhaustively summarize what happens in the story, although there will be some story summary involved in this. Otherwise, you can't talk about anything. This is going to be a very
shallow dive. I just said deep dive because I like alliteration, and as soon as I said it, I was like, I shouldn't have said deep dive. Yeah, this is not, you're not going to know, we're not going to cover beat for beat every story beat here. Yeah. So it's not going to be that kind, but we're going to talk about, we're going to tell you vaguely what happens, but that would take a very long time to summarize because it's a very long magic story. Mm-hmm. I just want to say some preamble. But we're going to be talking about the themes and things that we like and interesting ideas and how that sort of reflects on magic and the personalities and some of that more, it's going to make your appreciation for the story rise, but it's not going to summarize it for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, we're going to be discussing how the story made us feel.
Yeah.
Right? And not summarizing it because this ain't a grade 9 book report.
Well, and also it would take too long to summarize.
Yeah, we tried that once.
Well, some magic stories you can summarize very quickly. It's very self-contained. Like the Thunder Junction story was sort of this happens, and you could probably summarize it in 5 sentences, really. This is, we'll give you that glib 5-sentence summary, but this is this is a new chapter in magic fiction. So, if you haven't read any of the other magic fiction, that's cool because we're actually starting a new sort of magic story arc, right? And 2, this is completely divorced from previous magic fiction. So you could just pick up here and start reading, and it's not going to be as you know, Chandra and Nissa were up to doing this with the Ether Spark, right?
Right.
Completely fresh start. So if you're interested in magic story, it's a good place to start.
And if you don't like reading with your eyes, you can read with your ears. There's a whole audiobook version of it as well.
Yeah, I read. I did 2 chapters of this in the audiobook version.
Yeah, I liked the narrator. I thought they did a great job.
He's a well-known voice actor.
Yeah, I was surprised how some of the names were pronounced.
Oh.
Yeah?
I don't know if that is me or presumably the narrator had notes on how things are pronounced.
Oh, probably.
So I would default to them doing it, but I liked the way I had the names said in my head.
All I know about this set is that we are aware of the magic multiverse, and then we've had the Blind Eternities, where the Eldrazi come from, described as sort of the space between. I guess that's the sentence, actually. The space between. And this is near there.
Yeah.
We're in space?
We're in space.
We're in a different reality.
Tell me what's going on.
This could just be a plane that is the size of a stellar cluster.
Yeah, exactly. I interpret this from my understanding of the story is that there's the Dominaria plane, there's the Ravnica plane. This is the plane of this interstellar cluster thing where there's galaxies and stars and nebulas and universe-sized things.
Yeah, the one of the religious factions, the Monoists, make reference to Sothera being the 1,000th star they've done this to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
Actually, wait. Before we get into, I want to, before we get into Sothera and Monoists, let's just zoom out and just give us a little bit more context for the World Guide, because there's a lot of proper nouns in this, and I love proper nouns. But the first chapter of the story, I've seen multiple people go, "That's a lot of proper nouns," and I'm like, "Give it to me! I don't even need all the character description at once. Keep describing them over chapters, and I'll update my mental image." And I've found that people find that challenging, but I love it.
Well, and like that is a very kind of Seth Dickinson thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read any of the stuff that they wrote for Destiny,
No.
but saying like they love proper nouns sounds very dismissive. They are very good at naming things and leveraging what is obviously a very large and powerful vocabulary to efficiently tell story.
Yeah. All right, so we're in this plane that is actually a whole universe, we'll say, and in part of the universe, there is a star named Sothera, and Sothera is ringed by different planets, some of which were naturally inhabited, some of which were colonized by other factions that are basically them not appearing in this story. Mm-hmm. But there are some people who live around Sothera, different species and stuff like that. But like so many stars do, there's a lot of like natural like nebula material or aether in this area, and the sun was getting supercharged and it was gonna go supernova. But we've got two big religions in this universe as well. Okay? So there's the Monoists, who believe that it is the fate of all stars to collapse and become black holes, and kind of worship that everything has one ending, and then we will proceed through that like fissure of black hole and a gravity well into a new paradise of a new universe where all of the material has gone before us, right? So I think that's...
Yeah. They're vaguely... it reminded me a lot of how Ursula K. Le Guin described Taoism, where they talk about following the geodesic curve that, you know, is the process, or the pilgrimage of all matter through the universe, right? That you are falling. They worship he who falls.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. It's a very kind of like science fiction religion.
Yeah.
Where there's like a solid rational basis for it, and then there is an article of faith.
Yeah. Basically, the fate of everything is to converge towards the heat death of the universe, essentially, as all of the matter goes into darkness and ends. And therefore, we should assist things with converging towards the proper and predetermined end.
Yeah. Actually, like, just like, this goes far beyond the heat death of the universe.
Oh, yes. To the collapsing of all...
Yeah, like the heat death of the universe occurs in like, I don't know, a few trillion years. And then after that, you just have like this zombie universe of black holes.
And then...
that eventually like, kind of like...
will collapse. Eventually, everything will become anew, and then a new paradise on the other side will come out of it. And they are trying to... If this was not the purpose of things, then why would they be here for it? Because clearly this is the predetermined fate of the universe. So they are making sure the universe stays towards its path. They are the blue-black faction. And I think it's a really elegant way of expressing blue-black beliefs without making them, we're evil. But it's kind of... It's very dark. They've got like black aesthetics. They like sleep in bays of pools of saline water and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's one big church. And then the other big church is the Summists. And they're kind of the opposite. They're the white faction. And the Summists kind of believe, no, there's this great sum that the Summist beliefs are a little bit more hard to define from the story, because the person who you sort of get as your window into the Summists has doubts in her faith. We'll say she is less sure of herself, and then there's a lot of really spectacular rejecting and explaining of the monoism, so it's much easier to grasp. But the Summists believe that there is a sum of the universe that sort of like, if you're like ever like, well, what should I do? Well, this calculation This is kind of, Graham's going to think this is very funny. This calculation will tell us the most optimal life-preserving path. And they think all life should be preserved. They think, stars should shine and new things should evolve. And so what if the ultimate fate of the universe is death? Well, for now, we are living and we want to live and we want to expand life in the universe and give life a chance. Does that make sense? Am I getting it right?
Yeah, they believe in maximizing the amount of possible life in the universe. And if that involves killing a few people on the way, well, that's, you got to prune in order to grow.
Yeah.
And what I love is that they are they're very utopian. They are they believe in joy. They believe in the free expression of love. They talk a lot about loving one another, and everyone else is scared shitless of them.
Yeah, they're they hang out naked in saunas all the time.
Yeah.
They have buff bodies.
Yeah, and everyone who isn't a summist finds them extremely unpredictable, volatile, and frightening.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when they'll just be like, well, we ran the numbers, and as it turns out, you are like a subtractive element in the universe. So now it's time for you to die.
Yeah. And by probability, you are a subtractive element in the universe. You are interfering with my ability to achieve my goals, which is to increase all life in the universe. But I will say both factions have a real case of, if you want to, you got to break a few eggs, right? They're both bad in their own way.
Or
if you want to make an omelet, you got to. And the eggs are the lives of innocence. It's great.
And then there's kind of a large governing body called Pinnacle, which we get into later on in the story. But the Edge of Eternities takes place in what is called Pinnacle space, and they're kind of the United Federation of Planets without a Starfleet. Right? Or kind of like the culture. They tolerate the existence of these two warring religions and have kind of set out guidelines in which they will tolerate open warfare between these two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And, as long as nobody transgresses that, then Pinnacle doesn't have to bring down the hammer, even though later on in the story they're like, so what can we actually do to stop any of this? And they're
nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing,
Jack Swat, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I was going to ask. I was like, do they have a hammer? And I guess not.
They have. I like Pinnacle. I have not read the last two chapters of the story, so maybe I won't like Pinnacle after this. But they overall have I would say good vibes. They don't operate on a money economy. They operate on a generosity based economy.
Yeah.
What's their word for it?
I forget, but it's if people like you, if you do good things, then that generates kind of a currency for you.
It's a reputational currency, so you can just...
That's it.
Yes, the people, and they call it, and this is, I think, a really cool thing, they call it, potlatch. I'm assuming that Seth Dickinson got inspiration from the First Nations term.
Yeah. So, and of course, with any currency, there you can game it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
it's a mallow scam they call gaming for reputation,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Because they have this concept called mallow mass, where if you are in mallow mass, you have guests in your home, you are entertaining them, you are protecting them, you are keeping them safe, and that is the pinnacle sort of fucking line. And sorry for swearing. And you can't spoilers, you get warring religious factions aboard the same ship, but they're no, you can't attack each other because it's mallow mass, and they respect it.
Yeah, there are hospitality rules that are enforced by, robots with effector fields.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
aren't technically on the ship at the time, but people still respect the concept of mallow mass. And
well, I also shout out for effector fields.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if they're from the Culture series of novels, but that's how the minds. It's kind of like their hands.
Yeah.
They can reach out across light years with an effector field.
It's neat. So anyhow, we have a star system. We have these two warring churches that kind of believe in sort of the same, the opposite, but very similar. They have very similar methodologies when you really get down to it, is that they both ask that worshipers throw their lives away to advance their goals, right? Mm-hmm. And to throw away the lives of others in the face of religious purity. And they're both they're both for the summists. To me, I was like, God, for people who claim to be preserving life, they are so ready to kill and so ready to die.
Yeah. And then
they seem slightly more hypocritical.
Yes. Yeah. But they're in like I said, everyone who isn't a summist is afraid of them because they seem very volatile.
Yeah.
And then from inside, they are perfectly rational, and very like hard-nosed and very at peace.
Yes.
Which I think is a great bit of characterization with them. That, you know, when we meet Hylia and Sir Vondam, they are very kind of like stable, reasonable people that are friendly. They laugh a lot.
They have close ties to their comrades. They clearly care for each other deeply.
Yes, yeah. And you're like, wow, these people seem great. And then outside their behavior is
Let's massacre that colony of people for no reason.
Laser beam time.
But so anyhow, that's your setting. But remember we talked about this star that was going to go nova, but then it didn't. Good news. Sort of. Okay, so this is all explained at the beginning of the story, and it's explained sort of in this wonderful overview that makes no sense because all of these nouns and verbs are washing over you, and you just sort of have to go with it. The language is super poetic. But basically what happens is the sun is going to go nova, but then it didn't because the monoists came by and they said, no, the sun shall not go nova. It shall be turned into a black hole, and it shall be our 1000th black hole, which means it's numerically
relevant in some way.
Significant to our faith for some reason, and it's like a real big symbol. And then so
this is Sothera the Supervoid.
This is Sothera the Supervoid. This is a sun that has become a black hole, and the monoists is in the process of becoming a black hole. And the monoists are feeding it more energy so it will collapse into a black hole one day, and this will be their 1000th black hole they have created. And that's very significant to them for reasons I don't think they explain other than it's a nice round number.
Yeah. It's millenarian, basically.
Yeah. The Sumnists don't like this, though, because, you know, that's the 1000th thing. That could have... The Sumnists have this technology to restart stars. They want to restart Sothera and turn it back into a normal star, which might be bad for a lot of people around here.
Like the indigenous inhabitants of Sothera's planetary system, the Cav, don't want their star to go supernova, and they in fact mind their world into collapse, trying to bootstrap their society up to interstellar
because they knew their sun was going to go nova.
Oh,
right.
So yeah, you spend some time on. It's a beautiful. Okay, so most of the planets are not super relevant, but the Cav planet is what is the name of it again?
There's the...
I've just learned so many nouns in the past couple of days. But they describe it as because it's got two names. There's the planet that was and the planet there is.
X that is and X that was.
Yeah.
Right, and they kind of live on that was, and that is
a waste,
raining debris onto the other side of the planet.
Yeah, they literally blew their planet in half. They dug too greedily and too deep down to the planet's core, and it blasted like half the continents up, and then they collapsed back. And so now it's like two separate halves that are sort of connected, and there's this orbital laser network that like basically just blasts bits out of the sky before they can impact on people.
I'm just looking at the spoiled lands. There's Evendo.
Nope.
Okay.
I think let's literally address in the story as nothing important there.
And then, well, it's called Evendo Waking Haven. Looks nice. And then there's Caveron Memorial World. Looks like a
Caveron.
Yeah.
Caveron.
Okay. Caveron is how they say it in the audiobook. Yeah, there's Caveron. Yes.
Looks like it's seen better days.
Yeah, it's half. That would be it exploding.
Yeah.
And they dug too greedily and too deep. But like, yeah, it's sort of like people still live on the broken side and mine, and like lots of raiders come by to see what they can like get out of like this ruined half planet. And the reason like people are still able to live on the other side of the planet is all of that debris raining down actually heats the atmosphere and keeps it warm even in the light of a dying sun. And the other people that live in the system are like terraformers, so they're like we can deal with anything. They're the bugs from the Commander faction.
Okay.
So, and like I said, them's not appearing so far in the story that Kathleen has read.
World Shaper. That's the name of the commander deck.
Yeah. Well, we get to meet some of their faction, but they're not like relevant. So anyhow, in the light of this, we have this system, which is basically a flashpoint in this like huge galactic war. That Tezzeret is like, God, your civilizations are so well off. They're arguing about what's going to happen 100 millennia from now, or like 100 trillion years from now. God, you don't know how good you have it here.
Yeah, having these kinds of problems is so interesting.
Yeah, God.
Right? And like all this metal. look at all this metal.
He loves metal.
I
Tezzeret's enjoying
love that
himself.
all of your enormous power armor is made out of metal. Look what I can do to it.
Yeah.
Right?
But so we have in this area, this is the factions we have, but these are not the people we start on the story of. We start on the story of Sammy, who has been a revealed character, and Tenuk, who is they're basically the captain and first mate of one of the Sarima, and they are on a quest to retrieve an artifact for the Metal Man.
The Metal Man.
That's what Sammy calls him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the Metal Man." Sammy is sort of happy-go-lucky kind of red-white character.
Yeah. Sammy is they were the ship's cook
Yes.
previously on a science vessel, and now they have sole command of the Sarima.
For some reason. We don't get
Yeah.
into it. Or at least we don't in the parts I've read.
Yeah, they make allusion to it later.
I like, spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. That's pretty wild.
And Sammy's motivation is finding their cat, Miri.
Yeah, their cat weft walked, which is something that cats can do in this universe. They can travel the same way. So the pinnacle, one of the species associated with the pinnacle, is the Drix, and the Drix have the ability to sort of travel through what is essentially the blind eternities and do dune space travel essentially. And cats can also do that, but not as far. But one day Miri just up and disappeared. And
Yeah,
they're like,
something spooked Miri and she left.
and she weft walked somewhere where they never found her.
Okay, so again, this is just based on some cards that have already been spoiled. Weft walking, that was our spoiler card.
Yeah, that's why I was like, this is the thing.
Yeah, but then there is a Drix card that was spoiled. The All Fates Stalker is sort of like a fiend hunter but yeah, a Drix assassin.
Yeah.
So this is a Drix going, nope, get in the bag.
Yeah, the Drix are who gifted Pinnacle dominion over the stars.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a very fun, you get a brief kind of like glimpse into the message the Drix bestowed upon Pinnacle, and it begins with "all these worlds are yours," which I thought was a fun little reference to the book and film 2010, the sequel to 2001, right? All these worlds are yours except Europa, attempt no landing there. So yeah, when the Drix, there is a Drix that shows up very late in the story, and they handle a problem.
Oh, exciting.
Yep.
So basically the story, with a lot of hand-waving to shorten this, is Sammy and Tenuk, who are both delightful and good characters, are tasked with retrieving an artifact for the Metal Man. The artifact is the End Stone. The End Stone has the ability to control the fates of those around it. And so both of these, there is a name for it. There are many artifacts that can sort of warp causality and history around them. Basically, the End Stone determines what its outcome is going to be and alters the past so its outcome is correct. So both of these big religions are terrified of it falling into the other hands, because the monoists think that if the summists get the End Stone, this perfect collapse into nothingness and rebirth into paradise will not happen.
Mm-hmm. And the monoists believe and the summists believe if the monoists get it, they can throw it into a black hole, at which point it will have access to the fate of all matter in the universe.
And it will determine that if my fate is a black hole, all matter in the universe needs to black hole.
Well, and it can reach back through any black hole to any point in space and time.
Oh.
So it can, once it enters the black hole, it will be there at the end of the universe. And therefore, because it can reach backwards to affect anything that it interacts with, since all matter will wind up in that black hole, it can affect, it has complete control over the entire universe.
If we could bring up the card one more time, the End Stone, because I want to just read the flavor text. The future is set. The present remains uncertain.
Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of characters who figure out ways to make the End Stone's job annoying or difficult, which I thought was very interesting.
I'd like to just quickly for our audio listeners, read the card.
Oh, yes.
It's a legendary artifact for 7 mana, so it's asking a lot. But it reads, whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. So you're remaining card neutral at all times. And at the beginning of your end step, your life total becomes half your starting life total rounded up. So it keeps putting you back in the middle.
Yeah.
It puts you back to the beginning. It resets your fate to make sure that you stay alive, which is what it does because it needs to be handled by people. It wants to be taken to places. It's, self-aware. Everyone it comes in contact with, it's like, yes, you are the chooser for me. You are my chosen one. It's beguiling. The summists actually have a whole emergency protocol for dealing with objects like this that that they're like, you have to destroy it. You have to destroy all those around you. Take no heed for the innocents that you normally would. Nothing that touches this can be permitted to live. It is that dangerous of an object.
And it's one of those things where it's like if they find the end stone on a planet, they're gonna what's the 40K term? They're gonna exterminate the whole planet.
Correct.
Yeah. And their rationale around why it's called the Anathalmanac.
That's it.
Which is
Nice.
Yeah, that's cute. Is that any one of their order who encounters it, because this thing will exploit micro variations in personality and agency. Their strictures around it are so strict so that any one of them who encounters it will behave identically, so that it can't make you doubt anything. You just have to execute this protocol, and that protocol is identical no matter who enacts it.
Yep.
Neat.
This obviously does not work immediately.
I was gonna say,
It fails instantly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be. But it's very interesting.
Wouldn't be a very interesting narrative if everything went perfectly.
You do get to see the end stone adjust causality multiple times over the course of the story, which is fun.
Mm-hmm. I really want to love something the way that Seth Dickinson loves causality and statistical thermodynamics, which are just recurrent, and also the ultimate fate of all matter in the universe. These are recurring themes in their work.
I think it's fine to have themes.
Yeah.
By the way, because you were very excited about this, Seth Dickinson has written a series of novels, the Cormorant, the Masquerade
Cormorant
series.
Yes.
Yeah, the Boat Cormorant series. 3 of them with a 4th inbound, I am to understand.
Oh, okay.
And as well as writing for for video games, Free Space 2, Destiny, specifically The Taken King, Destiny 2, specifically.
They did a couple of lore books. One of them was the one that explained how everything works.
Right.
From what is it called? The Unveiling.
Right.
It's called The Unveiling.
And also some. If you watch our other shows, you'll know that there's some question marks around this particular franchise. But apparently, he's also doing some forthcoming work on Subnautica. Sorry, pardon me.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
They're doing some forthcoming work on Subnautica, and of course, the Edge of Eternity story.
All right. So, okay. So I feel like we keep getting set up, but it's a very big universe with lots of nouns, and I'm trying to give you overall context to understand what's going on, because it's a very simple story. Our 2 heroes are tasked with finding this special fate-changing stone by the Metal Man. Spoilers, it's Tezzeret. And all along the way, we get to meet people of both factions, and people of both factions immediately somehow they have their own personal reasons and doubts and stuff like that, which are really great and really honestly well explored and well written, and I encourage you to read it. But basically, they abandon the tenets of their faith and somehow end up working together to go along with the fate of the End Stone. So at a certain point in the story, you have a monoist and a summist and Sammy and Tenuk all kind of working to transport this stone to where it wants to go, because that's how the stone works. It really seems terrifying. Tezzeret, by the way, in his perfect arrogant Tezzeret way, he's like, oh, yes, I have engineered this whole system so the stone will choose me as its master because I want nothing from it, only to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah, Tezzeret is like, they ask Tezzeret, why do you want this? And Tezzeret's like, because it's clearly worth a lot of money.
The stone wants to go back to its creator. I aim to sell it back to its creator. That's the only thing I want. I have engineered it so the stone will choose me because I am offering it. Yeah. And he does it with a very elegant sort of metaphor of lightning arcing towards of the floor. He's like, I am giving it the most direct path to its goal. Therefore it will choose me. I want nothing for it except money.
Yeah,
I am incorruptible.
His spirit is pure. I admire it. Honestly, yeah. Tezzeret is becoming one of my favorite planeswalkers.
Tezzeret, pure scoundrel.
Yeah, and also just because he also gets completely owned by it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait to read that.
And I think like even where you are in the story right now, there's a couple of things where Tezzeret will say something, and you'll be like, "Wait, that didn't happen. That isn't how that went down at all, Tezzeret."
Well, I figure that's just him making himself look better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that, as far as I know, that's just Tezzeret lying to make himself look cool. But basically, he's just like, look, I have the ability to travel between realities. I'm doing a bad job of summarizing Seth Dickinson's dialogue here. But children, I have the ability to travel between realities, and you don't know how good you have it here. I have seen untold horrors, and all of them have tried to make me their master, and I have resisted them all.
Yeah, or make... Yeah, because...
has tried to become my masters, and I have, like, resisted them all. And so what I want to do is just simply meet the person who would control my fate and say...
Yeah, like, Tezzeret has kind of, like, a very understandable moral objection to this thing. Because there's one thing Tezzeret does not want anymore, and that's to be under somebody else's control.
Yeah, so that's why he has chosen this, because he's like, by controlling the thing that can control everything, I am in control, kind of. And it can't corrupt me soul, because the only thing I want for it, well, that's what I think this is stupid, and where I have yet to find out how this goes for him, but I'm guessing badly. But yeah, it's kind of funny. But Tezzeret is great. But I mean, also, but I will say, he is very high on his own supply, because he did just manage to get everything he wanted out of the Phyrexians.
Yeah. Elish Norn kind of wound up giving him exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, man got an indestructible dark steel body and got away scot-free from the annihilation of, like, a huge chunk of the known multiverse. Yeah. So, of course, he's going to rock up here and be like, oh, all you people so dependent on metal, and you don't even know what I am. You're like, because they describe him, they're like, he's wildly weird. He's a metal man, but he's not a cyborg. He's got a human's head. You know, they just refer to him as a wizard. Yeah,
and a couple of points they try to, like, you know, do some spectroscopy when he uses his powers, and there's nothing there. Right? They're like, we don't know how he's doing any of this stuff. And he just, like, he won't use doors. He just, like, walks through the ship in a straight line.
Mm-hmm. He just warps the metal around him.
Wow.
Because he's such a show-off.
Right, of course.
Let me say, Tezzeret, great character. A+, really like how Seth Dickinson, like, portrays him, really getting the arrogance, really getting the confidence, really getting the... I'm really only in it for myself, but you children, because all the main characters are fairly young compared to Tezzeret, are very amusing. I get he genuinely kind of likes Sammy.
I think so.
I think he sees Sammy as kind of plucky and fun.
Yeah. But where was I going to go? There was a thing I wanted to say. It was related to this. Then I lost it. Goodbye. Right. It was that, like, you might find yourself wondering why Tezzeret has tasked Sammy and Tanook, who are
two losers.
Yeah, two losers. You know, how would you describe them? They're energetic. They're unemployed.
They're the kind of people who are desperate enough not to ask questions, because Sammy wants to find his cat, because Sammy doesn't want to leave anyone behind. Sammy is very generous and kind-hearted, and that usually gets them into trouble. And Tanook never wants to make a choice again because of an amazing backstory character moment that is not necessarily relevant to the story, but is very good.
Yeah. A lot of this story revolves around people rejecting the ethical tenets of their society and kind of understanding that they come from a rational place, but disagreeing with the calculus around how they've arrived there, or being unable to accept the cruelties that come with enacting that calculus.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very elegant way of saying it, because I would say basically the monoist, the summist, and Tenuk all kind of have the same, like, yeah, I get why we do it this way, but I reject it, right?
I don't like this.
Yeah,
This makes me feel bad.
Who are some of the other... Sorry.
Yeah, it's correct, but it's wrong.
Nice. I like that. Who are some of the other characters? Because we've seen a few other legendary creatures
Oh, okay.
pop up.
The first character, like from one of these religions that we meet, is Alfariel, who is a monist. He's not a soldier yet. He's very young, and his sister has been chosen.
His twin sister.
Good.
I love
has
that
been
trope.
chosen to encounter Sothera. Right,
AKA
enter Sothera. She has been fired into the black hole.
She's dead.
Yeah,
I was going to say, so she's been thrown into the volcano.
Well,
Yes.
okay. She's
and she's happy, right?
She willingly accepts her fate of going into the volcano. This screws Alfarael. He's really upset about it. He has a nightmare that she isn't going to paradise, that she's burning on the edge of an eternal hell,
Yeah.
torn apart forever in the gravity well of Sothera.
Right.
Yeah, and this is also, I love that they're twins, because this is Hawking radiation,
Right.
which is how black holes eventually are theorized to evaporate. You have a virtual particle or a pair of virtual particles that burst into existence. One falls into the black hole and one escapes. And that process over trillions upon trillions of years causes the black hole to evaporate.
Huh.
So this is how eventually the monists lose.
They're like a physical representation of it, because one
That's
particle
amazing.
went in and one particle escaped, but they're essentially identical.
Just while we're here, I'll read the card. 3 black for a 3/3 human cleric, legendary creature, of course, with ward. Discard a card at random. I love that. And then
That's the stone.
the void reminder text, which is whenever Alfariel attacks, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, or if a spell was warped this turn, defending player loses half their life rounded up. Neat.
Yeah, he gets into aristocrats, I think.
No kidding.
I mean, it's pretty mid-rangey, but like I really like his character in that his crisis of faith occurs immediately upon you meeting him.
Yeah, it's the first thing. Well, it's why I think I have such a strong understanding of the monist ideas, because he just runs through it and has to reject them all in a panic. So basically, they send him to attack a summist ship. Now, we're saying monist, we're saying summist. There's actually a lot of other proper nouns that are like, like pope and like church and like stuff like that.
He's set to attack a Palatinate ship.
Yes,
Guarded by the Free Company.
but the Free Company is like the church army of the summists.
Because quite a few characters in this story are summists who are not part of this church. Or at least several characters.
It seems like the better option to worship is the life-happy giving one.
Yeah. And yeah.
Is this like the just using religion as the sort of the example? Is this like someone who is like, yeah, I'm a Christian, but I'm not like a cardinal in the Vatican City.
Yeah.
Like, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't work for the church.
Yes, exactly. So currently the Palatinate, I think, has a ship orbiting Sothera, which is going to be able to reignite it.
And we've seen the ship. This is the Dawn.
The Dawnspur? The Dawn's...
God, so many.
What's it? The Dreadnought something or?
Yes. And we told James the names of the cards beforehand, so we would know.
Yeah.
But like I said, there are so many proper nouns in this, and
Dawn Sire.
the Dawn Sire.
Sunstar Dreadnought.
That makes sense. The Dawn Sire has the ability to reignite the sun. So all of these monoists, basically a suicide squad of people who've decided they don't want to live, and that's great. And if you decide that your free will is yours, it's very black.
Yeah. One of the foundational beliefs or the tenets of the monoists is that your decisions are immutable. They are yours. We don't get to tell you what to do.
That's
Very,
cool.
very black aligned. I love it.
But you have been raised in a series of ethical strictures and teachings and education that make those decisions kind of like foregone conclusions in many scenarios.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just cackling at the the rules text of this one. Dawnsire, Sunstar Dreadnought, legendary spacecraft, so it can be your commander. 5 mana. Doesn't do anything unless stationed. It just sits there. I'm going to read these in reverse order. With a station of 20, so 20 charge counters, it's a 20/20 with flying. With a station of 10, whenever you attack, not when this attacks, whenever you attack with anything, Dawnsire deals 100 damage to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker.
Badass.
Is there a way to redirect it to a person if you give them an item? I feel like there's a way to break this.
Yeah, target your own stuffy doll.
Yeah,
No.
stuff. Yes.
Dawnsire and stuff, all BFFs. I'm sure I'm not the only person to think of that.
Because Dawnsire, this is kind of like an interesting sci-fi concept. Dawnsire has this pair of lasers on it, and it is firing them around the event horizon of Sothera.
Oh.
And I'm not a physicist, I'm not a cosmologist, or an astrophysicist, I don't study black holes. But the idea is that as you fire this laser around the black hole, it accumulates energy.
Okay.
And then when you capture it at the other end, you can build up that energy. So Dawnsire is right now charging its lasers.
Yes.
They're trying to double bounce the laser
Yeah,
Pretty
kind of.
much.
Yeah.
off the trampoline of the event horizon.
So, but all of these monoists basically suicide troops, shock troopers.
They attack the shield ship.
The ship guarding the Dawnsire, because I know they can't guard the Dawnsire. But our main, one of our monoist window decides at the last second, because he volunteers for this because he's super depressed that his sister's died or gone to paradise, but he thinks that she's dead. And so he volunteers for this, and then at the last second they have this thing that they can take. They are sent into battle, and they're like, "You're not coming back." But we have these little we have a little trapped tiny bit of black hole that we can give you. It's basically a suicide switch. You engage it, and you collapse into a black hole singularity, so you can't be taken prisoner or die a painful death. Jeez. And at the last second, he decides he's not going to die, and he tears it off his head and throws it at the people he's attacking, which are a bunch of monoists, and blasts off his own hand, but no, it's gone.
Yes, right. Yes. Yes.
Blasts off his own hand because there's an escaping tiny black hole, and then kills a very important character to another very important character. He kills Sir Vondum, who is the Sunstar Knight who is trying to defend from this attack. And Sir Vondum's squire Hylia, she is very crushed that he dies, but then he's not dead.
Yeah, he's not dead.
Suddenly, she watches him die, but then he's not dead. Suddenly, he only just has a clean hole poked through his head.
Like the
right.
Who's the Russian physicist?
The guy who looked into the thing
into the particle accelerator.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Really?
he spends the rest of the story with this clean hole.
It's
through his
I think
head.
it's like here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because people can have a hard time looking him in the eyes. They just want to look in the hole.
That has to be a direct reference then, because where Kathleen is pointing is exactly where that physicist got a hole through
It's
the head.
probably a reference. Good job,
Yeah.
Seth Dickinson.
Yeah. Can we see Sir Vondum?
Yes.
Because there we go. Sir Vondum the Lucent. 2 white, black for a 4/4 human knight with death touch and lifelink, and whenever Sir Vondum enters or attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and death touch until end of turn.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, they're very vicious.
And the captain of the shield ship, the Candela, whose name I love.
Slats.
Yes, Captain Slats, who's like the version of an angel in Edge of Eternities, but they're just made out of light. So he's got a very long name that everyone shortens to Slats because it's a reference to the dual slit experiment. Let's Elfariel live. Elfariel has chosen to renounce the monoist faith. He's chosen to live, and Slats is like, go.
Then
go
live your life.
Yeah, go take that back to your people and see what happens.
Because they're very much like, this could have a chance to increase the amount of life in the universe. The sum tells me that this could have a multiplying effect if we take uncertainty back to the monoists, right?
Yeah.
We also see Hylia
Yes.
has a card as well.
She is
Guided
Sir
by light.
Vondum's squire and is kind of the window character into the Summus.
Yeah.
Or the Free Company.
2 and a white for a 3/3 with whenever Hylia or another artifact you control enters, you gain a life. Love that. Creature or artifact. Okay, so it's a 3/3 Soul Sister. Very nice. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if you've gained 3 or more life this turn. Cool. And also warp for a single white. That's neat. Okay, you were saying.
And she and Servandum spend a lot of the story wondering over exactly how injured and how incapable disabled Servandum is by his injury.
Brain.
And Servandum doesn't know exactly if he is rational anymore. Doesn't know if his decision-making abilities can still be trusted.
They're both...
he becomes extremely orthodox in his adherence to their ethos,
which makes perfect sense because they're concerned. They're like, we saw something happened, and they think that one or both of them has become what the Sumnists call the Anstruth, which is basically sort of a thing that has been replaced by this reality warping artifact object that has no will of its own, only functions towards the artifact. It is not even truly them anymore, right? They're like, why should he even be alive kind of question. They're very concerned about it.
Yeah.
It gives them an enormous crisis of faith. And so Hylia goes and they try to retrieve Alpha Raphael, and that doesn't work. And Servandum, for some reason, chooses not to destroy her either out of you never get it if it's like a mentorly love or like a more intense
I think it's more
love.
like a fatherly, familial love.
I think it's like a familial love bond between the two of them. It doesn't seem romantic, but death of the author. If you think there's a romance there, you ship it, I guess. I'm not getting that.
Yeah, no, I don't get that from it.
But they care deeply for one another. He doesn't order her death, even though she is in the presence of the Endstone, the artifact, the strange object, as they call it. And she's like, oh no, this is what I guess we can just only go along with what's going on. What I really appreciate about this magic story is that we get multiple chances, two at least at the part I'm at, where she and where the monoists and the sumnists can literally have a discussion and talk about their faith and talk about where their common grounds are and why they're fighting with one another. We get 2 of that. There's so much space in this magic story. It's so long. It's so good.
Yeah. This is such a great example of what authors can do with a magic setting when they're given just a few thousand extra words.
Oh my God, the character building's really good.
Yeah. When you give an author space to write, they can come up with some really engaging material.
Yeah, this is a very long magic story. Like I said, I have not had a chance to finish it at time of recording. I'm a very fast reader.
Yeah.
But I've only read 9 of the 11 parts, but there's an audiobook of them. But I will say some of the audiobook recordings, some of the chapters, the audiobook for them is over an hour.
Damn.
So it's long. I do not know what the word count is. I feel like this is probably close to double, I think, what you were given for Dusk. Well, even Duskmorn had a bit more story. But when you're talking about
Bloomborough.
Oh, the Bloomborough story moved fast.
Yeah.
Because there's side stories too.
Yes.
I have not read the stories.
I have not read the side stories.
Seems like that's probably where we meet the Green faction.
I assume the sides. I've heard the side stories deal a lot with Sammy's former crew.
Oh.
What else do I want to talk about here? Everyone, this is just great. Everyone has a legitimate beef, right?
Characters behave according to their ethoses or their own personal interrogations of them. They have moral dilemmas and they arrive at them. They discuss their motivations and stuff like that. We understand them. We watch them change and grow.
Yes, yeah, and the monoists, they're not wrong. They've looked at the cosmology of the universe and seen how it's going to go down, and have decided, well, we can only be part of this, right? It's
happening whether we want it to
rational.
Or not.
Yeah. And it's
an interesting sort of philosophy of we're all sitting on this very slow moving conveyor belt that's taking us towards a wood chipper.
Might as well worship the wood.
There's no getting off. We can't get backwards. So let's run that way.
Yeah, maybe what's on the other side of the wood chipper is actually awesome.
Yeah.
Well, they have convinced themselves it's paradise.
Yeah, exactly.
And they actually have like a fairly lucid theory of how that would work on the other side. That I don't remember right now, but I read it and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I also want to say that I just love the name of the shield ship, the Candela, which is the international system unit of measurement for light.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a humanist one. It is related to like luminosity at the wavelength that the human eye responds to, or has the best sensitivity at. So it like you could call it like the photon or something, right? I feel like a lesser author might have called this ship like, the quantum or the photon. But the Candela is like, no, this is a human thing.
I would be very interested to see. I would love to talk to Seth, and they might not be able to tell us this, but like where the work, because I know the people who work in the Wizards building do so much amazing world building, and you can read the world guide and get all of these details. And I would wonder where the world building, where what he got or what they got from Wizards and what they brought to the table to fill out this world and stuff like that. It's very collaborative, right?
Yeah. Maybe this was just like a home run from someone on the creative text team.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I love. Well, the creative. Okay, so creative text is different. Creative text doesn't usually get
the legendary names.
I mean, sometimes the names of like really important things already come to you.
Right.
Like this is the MacGuffin in the set and we've already decided what it is, but please feel free to submit stuff, but we're probably going with this.
So here, as an example, because this got out publicly, because sometimes they will, this is because Kathleen and I and Cameron have all done creative text projects, and sometimes they will say, this is a legendary creature, this name stays for whatever reason. Yep. Or they'll be like, this is a legendary creature, I don't know, make something up. And it was for Murders at Karlov Manor, and based on the world guide, I assumed they'd be a bigger character. But the Viashino that runs the workshop that outfits the agency, Kylox, right? They're blue-red. They were originally named, I can't remember what the name was, but there's infamously, yes, they were printed as Kylox Visionary Inventor. But there was like a piece of like shop fitting that went out to all the WPN stores that was a poster for Murders at Karlov Manor that had all the characters in little bubbles around it, and Kylox was misnamed as the name that this character came to us as.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were like, you can change this name if you want. And so someone suggested Kylox, and I don't know who it was. I don't think it was one of us. And then so that's how it went to print. But the name that had come from card design, where they just made something up to put on the thing, had gone out to this poster, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah. I feel like most of the time, if there's they're a major character in the fiction, that this was sort of like worked hand in hand with like the world building team and stuff like that. I feel like those characters come and they're like, hey team, this is Alpha there, but you can come up with their epithet, which is like sort of their thing at the end, the Stone Chosen, right? Mm-hmm. Like, which I think is very elegant. Anyhow, oh, right, the stone. We forgot because we were like, he loses a hand, he throws his thing. And then the first thing the stone says when it gets him is like, this person needs a hand. And then he wakes up and he has a hand again, but with a perfect hole through it that he can see different fates through. Mm-hmm. And that he could use to like pick locks. Because if he just reached the hole in his hand, then he could just see the mechanisms inside the lock and open it up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, yeah, it's very like,
I feel like
cool.
that's
all cool.
I feel like that's a Seth Dickinson detail because I don't know if I think that's so narrow that you wouldn't be able to represent it on a card, right?
Yes, yeah, and yeah, it comes in extremely handy as something that could manipulate causality. You would expect, but like the quality of the writing is also quite good. I thought the action set piece, which was the Monoist assault on the Candela, was very well written. Like, it just moved along at a great clip, and it felt like this sense of urgency because all of these people know that they only have 10 minutes, right? Like, their ship impacts the Candela at was something like
30
30 kilometers
a
per
second.
And the ship deploys a field called a Charizard field
Yeah.
in order to offset that momentum for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you're going to go splat. But for those 10 minutes, cause some havoc and tell us what this ship, like what its interior structure is like, how it's powered, what color is the wall. Like, we don't know anything about this thing. We just know it's guarding this thing that's going to unmake our black hole.
The Charizard field.
Yeah.
To delay.
Yes.
That's terrific.
Yeah,
There's
it's a
a-
great little, like, magic thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like beautiful little teensy references in there.
Yeah, it's not spelled Charizard. It's like
Chazad.
Chazad field,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But, you know,
We know what they're referencing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that sequence moves along really quickly, right? Especially when the monoists start using their singularities to like selectively die in order to advance their plot, right? Like they have what are they called? The puzzle
Oh,
team?
the puzzle. Some of the people who volunteered to go are a puzzle solving team.
Yeah, and they're trying to like crack locks and get through like bulkheads and doors. And as they're like, we can't solve this one, we need to just blow through it, right? One of them will activate their singularity and like blow a hole through the lock.
Jeez.
They're all, oh God, everybody in these space religions is so prepared to die.
Yeah,
They're
it's grim as
so-
hell.
yeah.
It's super grim and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a very good story. I feel like we've discussed around a lot of it because I think you should just either read it or listen to it.
Yeah, and like, yeah, full agree. I really recommend going through and like savoring this one. And the Cav are really interesting. They're Tanuk, who is they are called Cav, but they are bipedal sentient Kavu. Tezzeret comments on it, like when he meets them, he's like,
It's like, we have these in Dominaria.
"Yeah, you're really far from Llanowar." And Tanuk is like, "I think this is kind of racist, but I don't know how."
Yeah.
And Tezzeret is like, "No, this makes sense. It's a very robust form. I
Yeah.
can see how this would crop."
It's like
up elsewhere."
carcinization, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
It's a strong. It's a strong body plan.
Yeah, evolutionary banger.
Yeah.
And the Cav have this ethos where it's like, no, fair's fair, right? Like we live in a disaster area. Even before we mined our planet in half, like we were a little creature on this big planet. And it talks about how their thought pathways are organized around remaining calm when you are in the middle of a stampede of like, I don't know, something the size of a brontosaurus, right? Or a brachiosaurus, right? You have to stay calm and you have to plan. And so Tanuk always feels like he's kind of like a little detached. He's a little, he's the steady, slow talking guy who you can always count on. He's just a rock. Right.
Tanuk, by the way, is 1 red green for a 2/4 Kavu pilot with landfall that says whenever a land you control enters, Tanuk deals 1 damage to each opponent. If this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn, draw a card.
That's kind of tasteless, considering what happened to him.
I was going to say.
Giving him landfall is
And I-
like, oh, that's a little soon.
Yeah. You'll just have to read the story to find out why we're just like, whoa.
It's flavor text. Serving in the Memorial Navy was nothing like the posters made it out to
I don't
be.
know if I love this flavor. Okay. This is not me criticizing. I think it's very good flavor text. I think it's short and elegant and to the point and fits very nicely in the section of the card. I don't know if that is the part of his story I would call out, but we don't know if the creative text team had access to the web fiction at this point.
Yeah.
I would allege, based on our experiences, and I believe that this has changed and improved since then, but from when this would have been in development, I'm betting the people responsible for writing the flavor text had no insight into the fiction.
Or
Which-
maybe only had the broad strokes of Tanuk's backstory.
Yeah. And if that sounds silly to you, yes, which is feedback we've all given, and which is why I believe that some of these changes have been enacted.
But it's a good story.
It's good. It's really good. I'm really happy with this. And it makes me like, I was already kind of like for Edge of Eternities. I was
like
positive
space.
on this set. I like it when magic's weird. And this has just made me like full on like Edge of Eternity pilled.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, it's
I'm so
cool.
theramaxing. I'm
I will say,
In your pinnacle era. What?
from a writing point of view, if you're coming into this and you're like, I don't know, I don't read much. I want to read more, but I don't. This is a great place to start. Check out the audiobooks. It's a really great story. There's a lot of proper nouns, and the descriptions can be sometimes, I'm going to say, more poetic than purely illustrative. Seth Dickinson has some very wonderful turns of phrase. I was starting to mark them, and I was like, in this way leads only madness, and I'm never going to figure out when I want to talk about these things. But I even like for something simple when they're talking about like how Caveron came to be blasted apart, and they're like, oh no, I mean, they didn't just do it like normally, because it takes a lot of energy to divorce two halves of a planet from one another. And I'm like, oh, what a good way of saying that. It's so elegant.
Yeah.
And it's just but like if you're reading along, like the battle scene is great. It's abstract in parts of how things are described, because people are warping through space-time. They're blasting holes in things. They're becoming ones with black holes. They're traveling. They have there's a lot of proper nouns being deployed for the kinds of weapons they're using and what they do and stuff like that. So it's the kind of thing where it sort of just has to wash over you, and by the time you're in it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in it, I'm strapped in, I'm ready to go. But just like let yourself be taken. And so if you don't read a lot, or if you're like, I want to start reading, I want to start reading more, an audiobook is reading, and it does count. And I think it would be more helpful because you're going to get those proper nouns pronounced for you, so you won't be stumbling over them. And it sort of just pulls you into the story in a way that maybe your eyes might jag over when you're like, I don't know what 4 of the words in this sentence mean.
Also, I struggle with words on a screen. I like to have a book. So the audiobook I found was a much more organic way for me to take it in.
Did you do a pure audiobook?
No, I think I read the first 9 or 10 chapters.
Oh, wow.
And then threw on the 10th and 11th as the audiobooks, and was like, well, that's not how I was pronouncing that name. Yeah. But it's good. It's fun. Like I was really impressed at how much mass and speed it feels like the knights have. Like they feel dangerous. Right, they feel like they carry a lot of momentum. Like the Monoist Knights feel like they are wearing big power armor.
Yeah.
And then you encounter, like, they make a lot of allusions to the Monoist opposite number of them, the Gravkill Paladins. And then later on you encounter one of them and you're like, that sounds really big and scary. Right? Like, it's not just a dude in plate armor, right? It feels like an integrated weapon system.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And what else? Like, I like how the Monoist armor is made out of labile, or alabile. It's a material called alabile, which is unchangeable, right?
Ooh.
Labile is kind of the antonym to stable.
Oh, yeah.
But if it was alabile, it means it's cannot be moved.
It's
so super stable.
It's so stable you don't even know.
It's
cool.
stable the way a black hole is stable.
Nice.
Yes.
Right?
Still metal, though, as it turns out.
Oh, Tezzeret's having such a good time.
Well, you two can have a good time.
I guess we've been talking for over an hour.
Yeah, well, I mean, which is great. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I need to go listen to this now.
Please go listen to it. Google Magic Story. If you're liking Magic Story, please let Wizards know, because honestly, I have to say, I've been a big booster for Magic Story for the years, and my constant refrain is, if you want to tell a good big story with like hitting all of the action moments and character development that makes us care about these people and understand their backstory and want to love these cards, right? Then you need to give people word count and space, which is why I'm like, let them write a book.
Also, one more thing. This felt a lot less constrained along the direction of, you have to show the event on this card.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like they let the author have a lot more play. There's no like, oh, they cast a lightning bolt and this person pondered, right?
Yes.
It is a much more organic feeling story than
a list of plot points that need to be hit within a very strict word count.
Or people like casting spells, right? It feels unrestrained in that respect, and I really, really like that.
Yeah.
And please tell Wizards, if you like this, tell them that you like it, because I feel that this was kind of an experiment with giving an author this much space and time and freedom.
Yeah, and I think it's really paid off. I think the story's a slam dunk. I think if you like sci-fi, you will like this, because Cameron's a big sci-fi person. He's got better taste in sci-fi than me. It's if you like beautiful writing, you will like this. If you just want an interesting story, you will like this. If you want to understand what all these weird proper nouns on the cards mean, then you will like this. Like, it is not that much of your time, and I think that you will find it personally enriching to listen to. And then Wizards will interpret your listens and your comments of like, oh, I actually really enjoyed this, as, yes, we should keep giving authors space and time and the ability to write something that's getting closer to book length. Tell a book length epic, right?
Heck yeah.
Like, a lot of stuff happens here. And if we had just moved through the basic plot points of get MacGuffin, have a fight, take MacGuffin to place it wants to go, I think we'd care way less, and this world would seem much less rich and much less developed, right? Because it's easy to be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But what makes us care is when we understand why Tenok acts the way he does.
Yes.
Why Aphrael has his crisis of faith. Why Sir Vondam and Hylia are just like, oh my God, what do we do? Do I order your death? Do you order my death? Should we both be dead? Like, could we trade places with one another?
Yeah,
Right?
like what makes sense in this scenario? Like, Hylia's solution for making sure the Endstone can't mess with one process is really clever. It's really clever. I love the Pinnacle command structure. Right? When you meet the two Pinnacle officers who are in charge, the first officer is called a checkmate, and it is their responsibility to gainsay their captain.
You're like, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Have you
And-
considered X?
Yeah, and like the I just like that the Pinnacle people are like competent and rational and magnanimous, and like they're better. They're a lot better than me,
Yeah.
right?
They even say that. They're like, oh, the Pinnacle is so much better than humans. It's the first thing humans abandon is one another.
Yeah. Like they mentioned that the aliens who are kind of running Pinnacle are how humans self-describe, but actual.
Yeah. And there's some cool, there's
Nice.
some nice sci-fi touches about like how Kavu are very like smell and like feel oriented, or Cav are like smell and feel oriented and stuff like that. Now that reflects on their physiology and how you like, they relax when they're like super stressed out because that's what they're trained to do. And they're like, so it's like, you get this little like box text, and then you get this message from it's the Tenok and Sammy scene. So Tenok's like, hey, yo, so I think something's following us. And by how relaxed
how
he
relaxed
sounds,
he
you're
is.
like, the danger is very imminent.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very funny.
Yeah.
Because he
'cause
sounds so
wants
chill, it's actually
He wants to put
incredibly.
his belly in contact with the ground,
Oh.
right? So you can feel it, and in order for that to be effective, you have to be calm.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, you don't get cool moments like that if you don't get the space to do the world building. And so the cool moments make it cool and make it memorable, and less like they went from here to here to here, because that is the complaint people have with Marvel movies as well, is that no one does anything other than progress the plot or explain the plot. And why do I care? I don't.
We didn't even get to the climax of the story in this,
But that's
it's
okay,
cool
because
as hell. And the
We're gonna leave
descriptions,
people wanting.
yeah, and the descriptions of what happens at the climax of the story nail it. They just nail it. They nail it. When you get to it, you will know, and you'll be like, oh, that is what people have been trying to describe for decades.
I'm so excited.
Well, now I have to read this as well. Terrific. Okay. I'm going to wrap up now.
Yes.
Card Kingdom.
Yes.
Go or pre-order yourselves some Edge of Eternities, because hopefully, if the set does reasonable numbers, then we'll get some more original Magic stuff and more authors to write stories about it. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Well, and the thing is, you can't sell IP later if you don't develop IP now. So truly, you're just laying your own future, Wizards of the Coast.
You're telling me you're not excited for the Spider-Man story?
Is there a Spider-Man story?
No, I'm just being a dick.
There's some comic books we could go buy.
I mean, like, there's some. Now, I will say there's some very good Spider-Man comics.
Yeah.
So, but I actually don't know. I don't want to talk
Tangled
about.
Web of Spider-Man? is
Yeah,
good.
I don't wanna talk about
That'd
that.
be good.
I want to talk about this.
Cardkingdom.com/LRR. Dragon Shield, the code LRRMTG5, and most importantly, everything we do here is brought to you by you supporting our Patreon or becoming a member on YouTube. Thank you all for watching and listening, and we really appreciate it. Until next time. Oh yes, a reminder: upcoming the Edge of Eternities pre-release. It's on a Monday, July 21st. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Starting at 10 a.m., we've got guests in the Scry Babies, Tori of the Vast, and Louis Stardust. Very excited to get our hands on literally this, the pre-release kit. Can't wait to crack into those and build decks.
I don't want to build a summonist. I don't like them. I feel like all of the both religious factions are bad.
I don't like them, but I get them.
I mean, I get both of them.
Yeah.
But I don't like them.
Yeah.
So tune in for that. The PPR is going to be great. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Kathleen
Bye.
and Cameron.
Hello.
James has been on tag. Heather Getsley is online. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.